Thank you. I don't think I've met any of you before, maybe one or two. My name's Debbie, I've been with NZMS since July. I'm a dietitian by profession. I've worked in the diabetes industry before, but for the last 6 years I've been working for Nutrition, looking after medical nutrition. And now I've come back to the diabetes arena at a very busy time with the launch of our new Tandem insulin pump. So who is Tandem Diabetes Care? Tandem Diabetes Care was founded, or the Tandem Diabetes Care was founded by Dick Allen, who is a grandfather, and he actually had his granddaughter over one weekend. His granddaughter was on a Medtronic pump. His wife and him both couldn't understand how to use the pump and thought there must be a better way. So he wanted to bring a product to the market that was easy to understand, easy to use for both the user of the product and the people caring for that person on the pump. And he's obviously had a lot of money because he's an angel investor to Tandem Diabetes Care. So Tandem Diabetes Care is a newish company. All they make are Tandem pumps. They're not a multinational with a pump as just one product. This is their whole business. 30% of the Tandem employees have got type 1. Tandem Diabetes Care was rated #1 for customer service in the US 5 consecutive years in a row. Their first pumper, I think, was 2011, and now they've got over 80,000 pumpers in the US, so it's exponential growth. The company was founded in 2006, and what they did after his experience with his granddaughter on his pump, to set up this company, instead of having a whole lot of techos in a lab, putting a pump together with all these whiz-bang buttons and then going out to the likes of yourselves or the people that were using the pumps and say, oh, look at all these great features. What they did was they interviewed 6,000 people with type 1 diabetes, either on pumps or not on pumps, and said, if you were pumping, what would you want in a pump? And so from all their feedback, they've had several generations of pump, and they have come up with this one here, which is the Tandem X2, which is the one that is funded from the 1st of November. So, a lot of their company is founded on human factors, and there's a big sort of burgeoning science industry all about human factors and the interactions between humans and technology, and they put a lot of emphasis on human factors when they were making this pump. And therefore, you look at doors like that where there's got a handle on both sides, and you say, would you push that or would you pull that? Half would push, half would pull, probably. What they've designed this pump with the human factors to do is to make the pump hard to do something wrong and easy to do something right. And it's not like any other pumps in the world, any other of the generations of any of the pumps. It's quite different. It's not just an upgraded model of any other pumps. Because we know that 80% of medical device errors are due to human error. So product timelines for Tandem Diabetes Care. As you know, as every year goes on, more and more innovation gets faster and faster. So between 2012 and now, we've had 4 updates of CGM, but we've had lots of updates of the Tandem pump. The first pump was released without monitoring. Then when the G4, Dexcom G4 came along, they integrated the G4 with the Tandem pump. And then the G5 came along, and they've integrated the G5 with the Tandem pump. And now in the States, and shortly in New Zealand, we're going to integrate the Tandem pump with the G6 technology. So it's all very exciting. And as you know, you get a pump for 4 years. So the great thing about this pump is it's updatable. So it's the pump that gets updated, not outdated. So just like you would plug in your iPhone and upgrade your iPhone, you will be able to plug in your Tandem pump and to take advantage of the technology that comes between now and when the next 4 years when you're entitled to another pump. So it is the only pump that has got touchscreen technology, and you can use it either with monitoring or without monitoring. So your home screen looks like either of those pumps depending on whether you're monitoring or whether you're just using a pump to pump insulin. It's designed to fit in the pocket of your jeans, which was one of the things that the feedback from the 6,000 people, the actual, lots of people said, I want it to fit in the pocket of my jeans. So that's what they have made it that little. It is simple to keep discreet. It actually has, it's smaller than the imprint of a credit card without the case, and with the case on it, it is exactly the same size as a credit card. I don't know whether there's any Animas pumpers in the room, but the Animas pump took 200 units of insulin, and this pump takes 300 units of insulin. So more insulin, smaller pump. It's very durable and ultra strong. You can actually throw it across the room, even though it's like, oh my God, I'd never do that to my iPhone. It is really strong. It's light and durable aluminium case. It's all moulded in one piece, so it won't split and crack. And it's got shatter-resistant glass, so it's not like your phone screen glass. It's really tough glass, and it's watertight too, 1 metre for 30 minutes. Okay, it does actually, it is waterproof, and where you plug it in to charge it, it's got a little cover on it, but it's actually waterproof without that cover. That is just like a dust cover. So, okay, so it gets updated, not outdated. So we'll talk a bit about that later, but how you update your pump. If you want to update to the next technology, then it will all be regulation through your healthcare professional. They'll have to okay that it's okay for you to update your pump, and then that message will be sent to Tandem. Tandem will send you an online training module that you go through to make sure that you understand the upgrades in the pump, and then you'll send that back to Tandem, and then they'll send you a key, email you a key or code that is specifically for your serial number, so that you can't share that updating code with anybody else's pump. So it's all very safe. It currently comes integrated with Dexcom G5, which of course is the only one approved for dosing without finger prick. And next year we're looking at the G6. So the pump mechanics, so it's quite different. Is there any pumpers in the room currently pumping? Yeah? Cool. So it's quite different to anything you've ever seen before, and I'll hand these around if you like. So this is the cartridge here. So quite different from the little plastic cylinder cartridge you've been seeing before. And the mechanics of it is that it's a really safe pump because you're never exposed to the whole cartridge of insulin. So the whole cartridge of insulin is never linked up with the actual tube. So what it does here is, this is now the cartridge, an ironed flat plastic biocompatible bag. I can see you going like that thinking, I can't, that's just too random, but you need to have a look at it to see, and I'll pass it around. So this is the bag here, and it's got a little caboose, so it takes 0.36 of a unit up into there, moves it across into its little bucket, and then takes it out of the tube. So it's a really safe pump. You're never exposed to that amount of insulin. Okay, do you want to just pass those around? So this is the cartridge. This is the cartridge with the side cut out, so you can see the plastic bag in that, a little bit like a wine ladder sort of thing, but over our jeans. And this is what the one is. Please don't lose this, because this is my only one. So charging. So when you think about how random it would be to put batteries in your cell phone every 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, we put batteries in our pumps now, but we don't put batteries in anything else, do we? We charge them with a USB or a micro USB. This pump has got a micro USB, so no more batteries. It can be charged in the car, in your PC, in a power pack, in the wall. You can pump and be charging, you don't have to disconnect. It's got a lithium polymer battery, so So it's not like your cell phone battery where, you know, you get it and it's all good for 5 days, and then as it goes on, you're charging it every second day and then every first day and then half a day. It hasn't got a memory like a cell phone battery, so it won't lose that chargeableness, if you like. It will stay charging for the whole time. We recommend charging 10 minutes a day. So when you're in the shower, put it in, you know, put it on charge. When you come out of the shower, put it back on. Done. And that will last for about 7 days, or about 5 days if you're continuously monitoring. A full charge will take about an hour. So then an hour, you've got 7 days of charge. And this is a little bit old now, but about 6 months ago, they estimated that they've saved 2.5 million batteries entering the landfill. So it's an awesome pump, but it's also green. So these are the buttons. It's really clear to see. So you've got your battery charge, your insulin units, just your bolus, and then everything else is under options, and your insulin on board is on the home screen, so you can see it at a glance. You've got a smart screen, so you turn it on like this, and then you're just like 1, 2, 3 to unlock it, and there you go. You don't have to remember any passwords. It's all the same 1, 2, 3. It's just because it's a touch screen. It can't turn on when it's touching things in your pocket. And unlike the NZMS, if anybody's on an NZMS, when you wake it up, it goes back to the screen you were on, not back to the home screen. I can see everybody going, because we're not, you know, when you're training and every time it times out and then you have to go back to your home screen, it's a good way to understand all the screens, but it's a little bit frustrating when you're just about to do something and then it times out and then you have to go back to the home screen. If you touch it randomly 3 times in any random place, so somebody picks it up that doesn't know anything about pumping, then it will switch off. Okay. And it auto locks. So when you're bolusing, unlike the NZMS, you have to wait for that bolus sort of to go through before you put it back in your pocket, and you feel safe that, you know, this, the minute you've pushed, initiated the bolus, it locks, and then you're doing whatever you're doing. Comes in 12 or 24 hours. And on the home screen, really simple to learn. So unlike the other pumps where you've got all your basal in one screen and then your smart features all in the other screens, this has everything in one screen. So on your, so this is a program here. It was just called it Weekday, for want of a better word. You can call them whatever you like. And on this one screen you can see what your basal rate is, what your correction factor is, what your carb ratio is, what your target is, your insulin duration, your maximum bolus. So it's all on one screen. And then it goes down in time blocks. I've got 3 pumps here so you can have a little play. So simple basal delivery, so it's got 6 customisable daily profiles. So you can call them, you know, school days, weekdays, sport, tennis, whatever, mum's house, dad's house, whatever you like. There's 16 time settings in every one, and there's 6 different ones. The basal is delivered every 5 minutes, and that's to be in line with the NZMS, which takes the reading the Dexcom, which takes the reading every 5 minutes. And it's got really tiny increments, so 0.001. And that's great for people that, you know, are really sensitive to insulin, but also in the future when when you're connecting it with the Dexcom and it's stopping and starting the basal, then you'll want those tiny, tiny increments. Okay? So simple bolusing, goodbye scrolling, no more buttons, no more scrolling up and down, keypad entry, it's got an integrated bolus calculator, you can extend the bolus, and it has got a quick bolus like the audio bolus on the NZMS, but this is a much more sophisticated way of doing it. It gives you the options, so it says things like, just real world things, like your blood glucose is above target at, you know, do you want to add a correction bolus, or below target? When they were designing this pump, I'll give you an example of how they innovate depending on their feedback. So they might have hit these things, and then down on this blue down here, they had DEL. Well, did that mean delete or deliver? You know, would you delete or would you deliver if you saw DEL in a box? So they simply went in, changed the software and changed it to a cross and a tick. The bolus calculator, like I said, you can extend the bolus for up to 8 hours in 1 minute increments. So that's when you're eating your pizza and your things, your foods like that. And unlike the Animus, where if you extended the bolus, you extended the correction part of your bolus. Whereas this one, you give your bolus, you give your food bolus, you give your correction bolus and the part of the food bolus you want, and then you extend the other bit out. So you don't have to go into the easy carb and not put your BG in and then go into the easy B and do a correction. It's all done in one. I know. Can you imagine what life used to be like? So the status screens are, there's heaps of information now on the status screens. I don't think the status screen was the best feature of the Animus pump, to be honest. Easy to see what's happening, you can see everything. Command diary, so that will capture every single button push. So with the Animus pump, you had a certain amount of things with history, etc. on the pump, and then you had to download to get, you know, the really good stuff. All the really good stuff is on this pump, like heaps, more than you'll ever want. And every single button push is captured. So every time you put your finger on that button, it is captured in the memory, and you can go back and have a look. So it's and to the point where it's got something is like an alarm, for example, declared by the pump and confirmed by the user. So it will tell you when that alarm went off and when somebody confirmed it or didn't confirm it. It's got a safety lock, so you can just lock out everything and just basal. Really easy to load. You load the screen quite a different way. There's no waiting for the rewind. You just click off a cartridge and click in another one. And it's just really real instructions. Remove the cartridge, install an unused cartridge, click the unlock, and away you go. So it's got all the reminders in the world which you can turn off or you know, turn on or off, depending on the level of alarm fatigue and how, you know, how much you want to be reminded of things. You've got your after bolus, you've got your high blood glucose, your low blood glucose, your missed meal bolus, your side chain, you name it, it's on there. It's compatible with Diasyn software. Same sets, different names. So all the sets that you're using now are the same. They're just called different things. I mean, I think all the sets for all the pumps in the world are made just about from the same factory. So the Contact D now becomes True Steel, the Inset 30 becomes Auto Soft, and Inset 2 becomes Auto Soft 90. The only difference is for those using the True Steel, it used to come in 60 and 110 centimetres. Now it comes in 60 and 81. There's very few people using that really long line. So, like I said, it comes compatible with the G5 out of the box. And of course, the G5 is, you know, you've got all your alarms and alerts and highs and lows and everything through the pump. And or with the mobile system. So if you're carrying a phone, you can also have 5 users following you on that G5. Okay, so what's in our future? So at the moment, they come out of the box with G5. In the first quarter to the first half of next year, we expect the G6 to be available in New Zealand. At the moment on the G5, you're just monitoring. When it comes to the G6, and you upgrade your pump for free of charge, then you're going to have the basal IQ technology. So that will predict and help with lows with 0 finger pricking, so there's no calibration. So how does the basal IQ work? When your pump, you know, that's talking to your G6 senses that you've got 3 plots of 5 minutes in a row going down that will predict that you will get to your low level in half an hour. It will suspend that pump until it has the first one that goes up, and then it will resume. So overnight, for example, you could have heaps of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, keeping you above that low. Okay. So that is basal IQ. So that's in the first quarter to the first half of next year. Again with the G6, but another update that will be coming after that. The G6 with the basal IQ is already out in the States. It's been out for about a couple of months. So we're not actually that far behind. And then the next one is the control IQ. So we've taken care of the lows, and the control IQ will take care of the highs. So if you're going to reach your high, it will increase your basal rate, and it will also, it has the technology to give you small boluses. Okay, so small correction boluses. So they call that the HCL, or hybrid closed loop, because it's taking care of your lows and it's taking care of your highs, and where the technology is up to is that just leaves you bolusing for food. Okay, and it will come. You know, there's lots and lots of innovation already built into the pump, waiting for the FDA approval and all that to catch up. So 4 years is a long time. It has things like Bluetooth capability. So in the future, you're going to be able to set your pump up, put it away, and bolus off your phone, for example. So that's what the Bluetooth technology is already in the pump, waiting for that technology to come to New Zealand. So the control IQ algorithm, so we've got the basal attenuation module, so it smoothly reduces basal insulin, taking care of your hypos, and then it manages the increased basal rate in response to hyperglycemia and delivers automated correction boluses. Okay. Now, in saying that, how many people monitor all the time, 24 hours a day? You know, a very small percentage. So yes, it's got all those great features, but just putting the monitoring aside, it's an amazing pump just to be used as an insulin pump. And next week, I think it's coming out on Friday, so maybe Monday in New Zealand, we've actually got the simulator app. So from Monday, you can go on to the App Store or Google Play or wherever you get your downloady things from, both on iPhone, both on Apple and Android, and you can download the simulator app, so the T simulator app, and that will do everything that the pump does except deliver insulin. So amazing and it's free. So for teaching, you know, teaching grandparents or, you know, people at school or somebody that's, you know, looking after your child or you know, all sorts of people would, you know, benefit from, or even yourselves, playing with the pump. Because once you've got it on, you can't play with it. The same as if it's on your phone, you're good to go. So no prescription, no paperwork, no obligation, you can just download it from the App Store. Thank you. Oh, my timer didn't go off, so I must be in time. So in order to keep the time, shall we just bowl along and then answer questions?
5 or so minutes.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Is there any
talk a bit
questions?
longer. Have you got any information on more Dexcom side of things?
Yes, I have. I've got handouts and things that you can, you know, that you can take in the break. Did you have a specific question?
No, just in general, what's in the pipeline for Dexcom?
Yep, so
next year, what else is happening in there? We're going to be funded Dexcoms in the future?
yeah, well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I can't answer that. All I would say is it's much more powerful for users of insulin pumps, Dexcom, whatever, to put submissions into Pharmac than it is for companies to put submissions, because clearly we've got a commercial interest and you haven't. So, you know, I would encourage everybody to rally together and fight for continuous glucose monitoring in whatever form that might be. Oh, there's my 25 minutes. Because they will listen to you as a group over listening to us.
Are pharmac likely to pay for it at the price they are?
Who knows? I can't answer that.
Are they likely to come down in price if we're buying them?
If you're buying them
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
from us,
Yeah.
unlikely for the G5. We're hoping to bring the G6 in around the same or slightly under.
How much are they to buy? Sorry, did you want to say?
So the Dexcom is about $100 a week to run, and that's real world. So I've got we do have a subscription offer for the G5, which is $999 upfront for the first month to get started, and then $385 for the next 11 months, which works out to be about $5,200, which is about $100 a month. How we've worked it out is that sensors are FDA approved for 7 days, but most people get more than 7 days out of the sensor. So they will do the 7 days and then, you know, restart the sensor. That's completely up to you. That's not FDA approval, but that's the real world experience. So if you're going to do that sort of, that sort of thing, then it works out to be about $100 a month.
A week.
A week.
$100 a week.
Yes.
What does that include though? $100 a week subscription?
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah.
So
that gives you a transmitter. So the Dexcom comes in essentially 3 parts. A sensor that you put in, and then a transmitter that you click onto the sensor. So the transmitter will last for 3 months. The sensor will last for FDA approved for 7 days. So you'll take that sensor out and you'll re-clip that transmitter in. So for the subscription offer, you get 4 transmitters, which is 4 lots of 3 months. So for 12 months worth of transmitting, and you'll get 24 sensors, 6 boxes of 4 sensors. So for most people, that will get them through a year. If you pull one out, or one doesn't quite last as long as you think it might, then you might be buying another box of sensors at the end of the year, that sort of thing.
do you have so what if you don't do the subscription part? What if you if you extend the use of them?
Yeah, and people do. I mean, there's diabetes nurse specialists that I know around Auckland that might have used a sensor for 66 days.
Would that still be accurate though, if you extend the usage? Would that still be accurate?
Well, it's not, and that's why it is FDA approved for 7 days. Anything you do after then is up to you to keep an eye on, by fingerprinting, and keep an eye on how accurate that is.
Given that 30% cheaper in the US,
Yeah.
are there any advantages in buying and using them compared to buying them?
You can buy them on wherever you like. I mean, you know that you're getting a reliable source. Do you know where you're getting them from when you buy them from overseas? I mean, I know that there are people that there are people that are buying them from overseas, and I guess it's just buyer beware.
One question about the pump, is it finished by the
It is waterproof. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, it is waterproof. 1 metre for 30 minutes. Yes. No, it's waterproof. To 1 metre for 30 minutes. As opposed to the Animus, which was 3 metres for 24 hours. Yeah. If you drop it in the toilet or somebody pushes you in the pool or whatever, it will be fine. Yeah.
How much are the updates?
The next one is free of charge. We're thinking that it's going to be comparable. There's no reason to think that there isn't, but there hasn't been any other updates. So I can't 100% say, but there's no reason to think that it won't be.
Is the sensor size going to remain the same? Is it still quite raised?
The sensor is lower profile on the G6, and it's also quite different to put in. So they actually had to manufacture a clip into the inserter device because people couldn't hear it or feel it go in and didn't believe it was in. So they had to go back to the drawing board and actually put a clip in it so that you knew it was in.
You said that it's on the slide. It said it's the pump's only for patients under 6. Over 6.
Over 6.
So what about the patients?
Yeah. So in reality, half of the patients, in the US that are using Tandem are paediatric patients. They can't make that claim because they haven't studied it in children under 6. But it's just like, in anything now, you use it, it's not going to prevent you getting a pump if you're under 6. It's just that your doctor needs to know that.
Would it affect your funding?
No. It's just because the studies have been done in over 6 years old.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can answer some more questions.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for your time. My name is Dion. I'm part of the diabetes team that work for Intermed and looking after all patients on Medtronic pumps. And my business manager, Robert Cooper, is here tonight as well. Obviously, we're really excited to be able to talk about the new funded pump, which really is the next step in technology that's going to be available in New Zealand, that is available and funded now in New Zealand. And the pump is called the 640G. Just for my purposes, I wasn't sure who I was going to be speaking to tonight. And are most of you parents, or I saw a show of hands of pumpers, but would most of you be parents? Yeah, okay, so we'll just go through, it's a very kind of good overview of what the pump does in New Zealand, and also questions, we'll have the pump out after you come up there with the computer. So obviously this is the journey that we've taken. Our last funded pump was a 722, which is a really robust, nice little pump that delivered insulin really well. And obviously coming from Medtronic, a large global organisation, there's so much data and a lot of clinical evidence behind the development of every single pump that's on the market. The next step, which was available but not funded, was the VAO, and this was the low glucose suspend, which means that if you reached a low, your pump would suspend. The 640G is the newest pump, the one that's now available through Pharmac, and this pump is a predictive low glucose suspend. So we're one step ahead, and it makes a huge difference. I think, we can talk about features on the pump, we can talk about bells and whistles, and believe me, this pump has got every bell and whistle you can imagine. But really what you want to look at is clinical outcomes, what it actually means in your day-to-day living, what it means for your children, and the data that backs it up. So the Pilgrim study, just as an example, I won't go through everything, actually showed that up to 80% of the time that people were wearing their CGM with the pump, they could actually prevent a low. So in real life, what does this mean to you? And then the Australians have just been funded with the hybrid closed loop, which is called the 670G. So we don't have that available, but no upgrades kind of necessary for the pump that we have available now, the 640G.
Sorry, did you say Australia's funded?
Australia have just been funded with the 670, so that's what they are looking at. They're just one step ahead. Where it does sort of give us an advantage is that they have all this experience that we've learned from, and we can kind of No, so when patients are starting on their 640G, we already know some of the teething issues that they've had as one of the first funded pumps, 640s in the world that Australia had. So yeah, they're looking at 670. That's a hybrid closed loop where it, resumes and looks after your highs as well.
But that's obviously different here when it does come here, and if it's available here, whether it would be funded here or not. Is another
Yeah, so
story.
currently the only pump we have available that is funded is 640G. Previously we had the Vail available, which was available for purchase, and the 640, which was available for purchase. So, perhaps looking forward, it'd be something, we'd be looking at as well.
The 640 is not upgradable with that example.
So it's not upgradable?
Yeah.
No. You need to 670? Yeah. No, but there's a whole lot to learn. It's a learning step. For a community of people with diabetes, it's a step that, so what you could have is, and we'll go through this now, I'll just go through it and we'll ask at the end if you don't mind. So the one obviously it offers an advanced protection, and we talk about the smart guard. So that's the algorithm that works on the predicted low glucose screen. It's very much more convenient. So there's been a lot of feedback. Not only, I think it's 1.3 million patient user days, or where there's been feedback from patients on what the best kind of interface is for everyday use of the pump. They've had feedback from healthcare professionals as well, so it's not only patients, as to where patients might actually struggle with a pump. And so there's a lot of data to back how this pump is designed as well, and it's an improved design. So the bolus was a calculator. For anyone that's been on a Medtronic pump, it's a super easy calculator to work out. It's very intuitive. So you put in all your values. You have this pump will actually show your active insulin, whereas before the 722 you didn't know. You couldn't actually find your active insulin on the screen. And lots of programmable treatment reminders. The big thing I think that may be different as well for a lot of people is that there's a meter that you can remote your bolus with now. And so my colleague in Christchurch has a child with, and she doesn't mind me talking about this as well, she has a child with type 1 who is 640G. She'll go to a birthday party and little Sophie will eat a piece of cake, she'll calculate the carbs, and she'll be able to bolus very discreetly. And so it's not something perhaps you'd use every day, but it is kind of quite a discreet way of giving yourself a bolus. You can also set up a pre-set bolus. So if you're having a cappuccino and it's 2 units, and preset that up and actually just give yourself a bolus through a meter. Obviously you've got your preset bolus and basal patterns, and also the volume is improved. So I think it's 10 times louder than the 722. You can adjust the volume obviously. So this pump is waterproof, you can swim with it, and it's waterproof up to 3.6 metres up to 24 hours. Obviously what this means is if you go to the beach, you can actually rinse it off, you can go for a swim in the pool, you can jump in and out of the pool all day. It is fully waterproof. The other big advantage for this pump is the auto brightness mode. So actually being able to see your screen when you go out into bright sunlight, I'd say is quite an important kind of feature. So it's got this auto brightness, and hopefully there'll still be some sun. You can actually take the pump and have a look. It's one of the things to look at when you're looking at a pump as well. And the navigation is pretty intuitive, very easy to use. Left-handed people and right-handed people use this very well, and it's ergonomically designed for that purpose. So the increments, the basal increments start at 0.025 units, and that's probably why it is indicated for all ages in New Zealand or across the world. Sorry, that's a bit small. Can you see that? Yeah. And obviously, you can start at 0.5 for larger doses and 0.1 for larger doses again. Obviously, it's the only commercially available funded pump that has predictive low glucose suspend with no upgrades necessary. Simple buttons and arrows to help prevent bolus programming errors. And so even in hospitals today, you don't have a keypad to put in values on any medical device. They're moving away from that technology, and actually an up-down arrow is deemed to be safer. You've actually got an arrow up and select it, so that, you know, instead of putting 10 units in, it's 1 unit, and you actually have to press select. So it's known to be safer. Just for volume, one of the easy things to think about the frequency with which you're actually changing your reservoir is very easy and safe. Kind of risks of needle stick injuries and that kind of thing. If you're familiar with the sets and the reservoir fill, it's a very easy process with Medtronic. Max bolus of 75 units. So our old pump had a max bolus of 25. So sometimes you need to do a correction before you can actually put your carbs in. You have to bolus twice. So this pump just has the capability of, which is quite important for, for children going into adolescence where the insulin requirements change as well. It's quite a useful kind of feature. So it uses any AA battery. Obviously, if you're going camping for 10 days and you've got nowhere to kind of charge anything up, you want an AA battery. You can use any AA battery available, including the rechargeable batteries. The remote bolus option we've spoken about, and bolus speed is adjustable, so you can do a quick, so if you've got a large bolus, you can actually adjust it to quick bolus or standard bolus. 12 or 24-hour clock, and lots of languages, so up to 23 languages available in there. And the clip actually flips right out, so you can put it right away from your body. Come and have a look at the stand after if you like. So with the 640 system, call it assist because everything is integrated. So the infusion sets are made for the pumps. The CGM is compatible with the pump, and the Care Personal with data uploading is all compatible. So it's made to work together. The next link, BG meter, we'll talk about in a minute, but it's a system. So you might be familiar with the infusion sets. We have one metal cannula, which is a Surety, and the rest are Teflon that are available. But you've got an option of, self-insertion or using an inserter in 2 of those as well. For children, perhaps that are not quite there with inserting needles or don't like needles. So that's the reservoir. So for people on a pump, total daily dose of less than 50 units, there's a 1.8 available reservoir, and if you're over 50 units, 3 mils is available as well. So either go and pump. Again, it's just a patented technology, so the cap that goes into the pump, just is designed to reduce any risk of blockage and unintended insulin delivery and leakage. So, and you also hear it click in. It's very nice also just to be able to take it out of your pump and actually look at your insulin. Get reassurance out of doing it. So yeah, we've got a selection and some kind of recommendations as if you're lean, you might use an angled cannula or 90 degrees or metal or Teflon. So the content next in 2.4 meter, currently patients have been going onto a pump have been using the next lane. This is 2.4 that is specific to the 640G. So if you've got one of these meters that looks like that, it's not the same thing. You need the 2.4 for the 640. So at the moment we can use it for remote bolusing, okay, which we've spoken about, and uploading your pump data. So that just clicks into your computer and you upload your data. Actually, when you receive your pump, you receive one of these and you also receive some blood glucose sticks. And so you have the ability to actually take the blood glucose, it reads it up to your meter, and then it transfers across to your pump as well. So we will have the option of people that want to self-fund will be able to purchase that shortly. it's not quite available yet. So components of CGM. Obviously it's a Guardian 2-link transmitter. This is a new transmitter that goes with this pump that connects to your sensor and sends your glucose readings to your insulin pump every 5 minutes. The inline sensor measures glucose levels, as you know, and the pump displays your sensor glucose reading. Finally, let's talk about predictive low glucose management, SmartGuard. How does it work? I'm going to run a very simple video just after this slide, but if anyone wants to know specifically how the algorithm works, I'm very happy to show you. It's quite simple and it's just based on your low settings. So whatever you set your pump at, the algorithm just does the work itself. What's that? Ah, thank you. Oh, it's gone. Kind of it in a nutshell, really. It's just, I'll show you the next slide. Oh, there we go. So the SmartGuard actually takes all the thinking out of it. So this is where your advanced protection kicks in. I think real world kind of feedback from people is what counts, and 93% of people that use it felt safer using the SmartGuard feature on this pump. So as you can see, depending where you set your low limit, there that goes 3.3, the default setting is 3.2. So it sounds super low, but that's the limit. And the SmartGuard algorithm works it out as to where. So you need 2 criteria for this function to kick in. First criteria that you need to be in a specific zone, and the second criteria is in fact that you are predicted to be hitting that low within 30 minutes. That's where your suspend kicks in, and then you're trucking along. Your suspend feature will stay on maximum of 2 hours, and the reason for that is because you can actually produce ketones, and so it will kick in again and will resume at a specific level, and also predicted to be at a specific level within 30 minutes. So the same thing again. That makes sense. So we liken it to kind of preventing an accident. So it's great to have airbags in your car because they're protective, but wouldn't it be great to have good braking systems that can actually prevent an accident? So it's preventing actually hitting that load. So on the pump, there are actually 2 functions. You can set a suspend before low, or you can set a suspend on low. I'm not too sure why you would ever use a suspend on low because the accident's already happened. The whole reason for having the suspend is to actually suspend before low. Lots of alerts and things as well, if you want them. So we can't really see a lot on this, but what I was hoping to show you on the mechanic data upload is where someone's gone into suspend mode. So you can see this person has suspended, a little blue arrow instead of pointing up. I'm sorry, I don't have a pointer. This person has gone into suspend 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and 5, and pull himself out manually. And so what this actually tells a clinician when they do an upload, it's very telling that if you're having more than 2 suspends in a day, your settings need to change. So they use that diagnostically as well. And they'd expect that somebody on CGM for most of the time would have an average of around 2 suspends a day. I think this one's really interesting. If you look at the top, that's the sensor. You can see that that person has suspended overnight and it's resumed itself over there. It's resumed itself and he's actually missed a line, or she. So as we said, you've got 2 options. So during suspension, you'll see a little shield come up on the face of the pump, and that little bar, the little orange bar, tells you how long you've been in suspend for. So during suspension, you'll see that little shield come up in the flash, and the shaded area shows you the duration of the time that you've been in suspend. The other great thing about, there are lots and lots of features on the pump that you can switch on and use or not. You can look at your sensor glucose review for like 1 day, 7 days, 15 days, 30 days, and you get a very good idea of how long you've actually been below target. So if you're going to clinic and you hadn't uploaded, you didn't have time or whatever it is, your clinician says, hey, can we have a look at your pump? In real world, you can look at this and say, you know what, the majority of my time I'm above 10. And they look at adjusting for that. So there's lots of information you can actually gain from the pump itself, which is useful. Quick look at the pump. So you've got a menu. It's very simple button pushing. There's a back button. Again, you're not coming in and out of a full menu. If you're in a menu and you go back, very easy to push the back button. Your display options allow you to have your light on for up to 3 minutes, so it doesn't time out. So I think it's from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Left and right button, up and down, and your notification light. The home screen looks like this. So your status bar comes up, it shows your battery, it looks at your insulin, current time. It's very simple. There's so many different ways you can actually get into insulin settings. You can go through the menu, you can go through bolus, or you can go through basal. The options and they're all easy. You can see your active insulin all the time and so on. And your blood glucose display stays up for 12 minutes. So the wizard calculator, you can set up to 8 different settings a day for your blood glucose targets, your target range, carb ratios up to 200 grams per unit, which is relevant for very small babies when 0.025 basal is not enough. So none of this kind of, I don't know if it relates to anybody in this room, but we do know that Starship have had to actually dilute insulin in the past, so this is an option for those of extremes. Keeps really accurate records and yeah, just the time and the value of all your VG readings, so you can actually see what boluses you've had for correction at the end of the day, what boluses you've had for food, and what, if you've had a bolus for both. The dual bolus again works in a similar fashion, that you will always get your correction first up, and the pump calculates that itself. So whatever the correction is, if you need a dual bolus, it will always give you that correction first, and then the square wave over time. The other thing you can do is, say for instance, you set your dual bolus up, and then you have another cappuccino, you can bolus over that with your remote bolus. So, you're constantly able to kind of be on the fly and eat and be, just as you need. So this I'm going to finish with, it's all fine, what does it mean? This is my colleague's little girl, Sophie. She's just had not so long ago, a really difficult night with diarrhea and vomiting. She had this 24-hour bug. Amy was up, and after 12 hours she had a look at the pump. So she was able to look at the screen at 8 o'clock, the pump had been in suspend from 6 till 7:20. So this child is able to sleep through this. She's had an exhausting night. She's able to sleep through this. Pump resumes basals and then suspends again just before 8 and meanwhile she's just able to sleep. So this is real world stuff. This is what it means for Amy, a working mother who is, you know, got to worry about getting fluids down her child and other stuff, and her child is sleeping. This is a better view of the screen, so you can have a look at where she's been in suspend. And really, yeah, at 10:41, look at the sensitive glucose readings and assess blood pressure, and she's still sleeping. And that's it. Overview of the Cumberland pump. If you want all the specs, I did hide the slide, but I've got everything you need to know as well. Are there any questions you'd like to ask now? Or?
How much are the sensors?
So the sensors, currently we're also working on a subscription, Robert, is that correct? And so the sensors are $420 a month, so 5 sensors in a box.
I'm sorry?
It's $420 for 5 sensors.
And is there a transmitter cost as well?
Yeah, so the transmitter, I know patients that have had a transmitter for 5 or 6 years, it's only warranty for 1 year, and that, so it comes in a kit with an inserter, and that is, and a charger, so that is $7.99 currently.
5 something like
We're trying to look at something like the Australians have done with their system to make it a little bit more easy for people to afford. So we're currently working on that. It's work in progress. This Tandem has been quite sudden for more companies. And
How did you do this? How did you do that?
so I think, yeah, so I think we're kind of, we're just in a state of moving quickly to try and make sure that we're supporting patients and the product the right way.
no one other question, is there a share facility?
I'm sorry?
A share facility, so that when my son's at school, I'm still getting his data.
Not at the moment, and the Guardian Connect would be probably an option, but it's not available in New Zealand yet.
What the option?
It's a Guardian Connect, so you're talking about a blind, so you want to be able to see his data remotely, which is a different transmitter, but no, not for
Not
this.
something we
No.
If you're currently on an NZMS pump and they're not going to be available, I know you're not on this, but they're not going to be available for much longer, do you have choice? Do you have to go to a Tandem? I know it's not you, but or do you have choice at that point to go to Medtronic?
I think
If you're funded.
yeah, if you funded and 4 years is up and you
So you have to wait for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
that is-
I can probably answer that question. So most of you might have been sent a letter, hopefully, if you're on an NZMS pump. So you're sort of split into 2 groups really. Those that have got warranties that expire between, or have expired, or expire between now and the 30th of September next year. When your warranty is up, then you can choose whatever you like. You just go and get a new special authority, a new script, and off you go pumping whichever way you like. If your warranty expires after the 30th of September next year, so on the 30th of September next year, if you're still in warranty for your NZMS, then between now and then, you'll be transitioned onto a Tandem for the balance of your warranty. So if on the 30th of September 2019, you still have a year to go on your warranty, then you will be transitioned from whenever, because we've got literally hundreds of people to transition between now and then you'll have a year to go on your Tandem warranty. Is that clear? Oh.
Thank you. Alright, so next up we've got Julianne from Mediray. This time we're not talking about pumps, we're talking about the Freestyle Libre, which I know a lot of people are probably using in the room. So a bit of a break from the pumps, but if you do have any questions from the last 2 presentations, please try and remember them, don't forget them, and we'll have time at the end to go through any other questions from the previous presentations. So I'll pass over to Julianne from Mediray. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Yes, Freestyle Libre, can I just ask you a question first? How many people here are already using the Freestyle Libre? I just don't want to go into too much in detail, but I can also help afterwards, and I can direct you to where you can watch a lot of the videos on information. So, and then hopefully answer any questions anyone has, or any information they want to share. So, for those that haven't used the Freestyle Libre or aren't familiar with it, it's a flash glucose monitoring system, the first one of its kind. It's been available now in the UK, and it's available around the world in over 30 countries. But the UK first got it over 5 years ago now. So it became available in New Zealand last year in July. So we've had over a year, almost a year and a half's use with this. And what it does is it, as it says here, it liberates patients from the hassles of blood glucose monitoring. Now, it's routine blood glucose monitoring, not all blood glucose monitoring, just so that's very clear. There are times indicated when you need to do blood glucose monitoring as well. So how the system works is that there's a Freestyle Libre sensor, as you can see to the left, and you've got your Freestyle Libre reader. The Freestyle Libre sensor works in your arm under here. You apply it to this area, and it works for approximately up to 14 days. And it automatically measures your glucose day and night. So while it's sitting in your arm, it is recording your interstitial glucose. And I have a video to show you the difference between the interstitial and the blood glucose. I'll show you that after we've gone through this. There's no finger pricks required for calibration, so while you're wearing it, you don't have to do the finger pricks, only if it's required with the readings. It's a small size, which makes it discreet, and I'll pass these around after I've spoken, but this shows what it looks like on the skin for those of you that haven't seen it, and that's how it sits. It's got a filament that goes into the arm, and then it's got an adhesive underneath which helps it adhere to the arm for up to 14 days. So I'll pass that around so you can show people that haven't seen it before. As you can see, so when you purchase the system, you get the Freestyle Libre reader. Now that has a 2-year warranty, and what the reader does, it actually collects data, stores 90 days of data. So the information that you can find on the reader, you can get messages, and it'll count down once you've scanned for the first time and waited for 60 minutes for it to start working. It will count down the number of days you have left, so you've got messages up there. Up in the corner, every time you scan with your reader, there's a touch to add notes. So there's a little pencil there, and you can add there your carbs, or you can just add that you're eating food. You can add if you exercise, if you take medication, or if you're taking your insulin. So that information all goes onto your graphs that you're going to see on your reader. There's a glucose trend arrow there to the right, which you can see, and that's telling you where your glucose is heading. So in the past, when you've done a blood glucose, you're not quite sure where you've been or where you're going. This is very clear at telling you where you're heading. It's also got an 8-hour glucose history. So the graph that you get below is giving you 8 hours of glucose, so you can see where you've been for the last 8 hours. And every time you scan, you pick up 8 hours of data. So that's one of the most important things, to make sure that you scan at least once every 8 hours, and that way you get continuous readings. And in there, when you add up touch to add notes, if you put in your carbs, or just put in that you've eaten something, sometimes it takes a while to get used to putting your carbs in, or you may not be doing carb counting. It will show an apple on the screen, so it will give you an idea, and if you're working with your diabetes nurse specialist or your specialist, it will show you where you're eating and what happens when you eat that food. It also shows you where you've taken your insulin, and when you download this, you can download the reader, you can actually see when you've exercised as well. So it gives you a very clear picture of what's happening when you eat, when you take medication, and when you exercise. So a totally new way of working with monitoring your glucose. It scans through clothing, so it can be a puffer jacket. It's between 1 and 4 centimetres, so you can scan from here and you're going to get it. So it's very discreet as far as you don't have to take your shirt or jacket off. The patient-friendly graphs, and I'll show you that. I'll show you how you can download it, and as I say, it stores 90 days of data. So this is how it works. You apply the small sensor to the back of the upper arm. We have a very good application video on our website, so when people are buying it, they buy direct from Mediray, and you can go in and you can have a look at the application video. It's very good if you're thinking about purchasing, just to see how it works, how you put it on. You also then, once you've got it in place in the back of your arm, you press the blue button on here, and you just get your sensor, which is on your arm, and you scan it, and there's your reading. With your readings, it gives you your readings after 60 minutes. Now, one thing that they have found is that if you put it on earlier, the longer you put it on beforehand, before you do your first scan, sometimes you get inflammation when you put anything new into your arm. So those first readings can be a little bit different if you get more inflammation. So people find that if they put it on, once they've used it for the first time, when they put their second sensor on, if they put it on even the day before or a few hours before, just to let it settle in the arm, and then you get your full 14 days of readings. The 8-hour history and trend arrows show if the glucose is going up, down, or staying steady. So the glucose trend arrows that you get here are on here, so you've got specific information, so you know what's happening with them. And the time when you would be doing a self-monitoring blood glucose is if you see the arrow going straight up or the arrow going straight down. And that's telling you that you're falling quickly or rising quickly, in which case it's interstitial, which is different to your blood glucose, and that would be when you would have a look at taking a finger prick. That's when it's recommended. And it actually comes up on here, you're going low or you're going high, and it comes up and tells you to follow the recommendation of your health professional. With the reader reports, which I'll show you how we download them, it's showing mainly your variability versus your glucose target range. And there's additional reports which show your time and target. And there's a very good meter on here that shows the actual time and target. You can look these all up when you look on the reader, which I'll pass around, and you can have a look on there. Once you scan it, you can get all those information going into the pencil. So I'll pass this around and pass it with the sensor, and you can have a look. So it's a painless 1-second scan of the reader compared to having to prick your fingers 3 or 4 times a day or more, depending on how often you do that. So that's pretty much the information about how to get started on it. What I'd like to show you now is a video on the difference between the interstitial and self-monitoring blood glucose. For those of you that have already seen it, I don't know whether many of you have had a look online. It won't take long, I'll just show you that. Sorry, we had this problem before, it's for some reason enlarging. Sorry. Can't hear it, I'll just talk you through it.
As carbohydrate is digested, glucose enters the bloodstream first, before it's absorbed into the interstitial fluid. So, blood glucose is at the front of the train. At the back of the train is the sensor glucose, or SG. Since glucose travels from the blood into the interstitial fluid, sensor glucose falls behind blood glucose. When the train is traveling along a flat plane, when there's little fluctuation in glucose levels, the blood glucose and sensor glucose readings will be very similar, although really exactly the same. Now think of going uphill on the train as a rise or upward trend in glucose levels. As the train starts up the hill, you can see that the blood glucose at the front is leading the sensor glucose at the back, because changes in glucose appear first in blood glucose. Now as the train heads down the hill, the glucose is decreasing or trending down. Once again, the blood glucose leads in the front. So as you can see, whether glucose levels are trending up or trending down, blood glucose leads sensor glucose. There will be a bigger difference in blood glucose and sensor glucose readings on the bigger hills, or when glucose is changing more rapidly after food, after insulin, and after exercise. There are a couple of important things to keep in mind. When glucose levels are generally stable, expect to see small differences in blood glucose and sensor glucose. However, when the glucose level is changing rapidly, expect to see bigger differences between the blood glucose and sensor glucose readings. It's important to note that with flash glucose monitoring, the focus is not only on the glucose reading at any single point in time, but also on the trend.
So that's really just to show you, because one of the biggest questions we get when people have started on Freestyle Libre is, why is there a difference? So when they see that they're starting to drop or coming down rapidly, quite often if they haven't gone through and learned about the difference between the interstitial and self-monitoring, they'll all of a sudden treat themselves without doing a finger prick. So it is very important, and it's on the videos that you get, on the information that you get, that you must do a finger prick when you see the arrow going straight down or going straight up. As you can see there's many things that can cause that. The other use for the Freestyle Libre is that you can take it into your diabetes nurse specialist, your diabetes clinics, and you can either save and send them, download the program yourself, or you can download it when you go in to see them. They've all got that available. So when you get the Freestyle Libre reader, you get a yellow cord with it, and what you do is you plug it into your computer, and once you've gone onto the Freestyle, onto the Mediray website, you can download the software, and then you can attach the reader, and I'll just show you quickly the type of information that you're getting when you do that. So when you, coming up. So this is what it looks like when you download the software, and then you plug in your reader. So once the reader's plugged in, and it's very easy to do, you can choose Windows or Mac, and for some reason, oh here it goes, it connects the reader will connect to your computer. Okay, so once you've got that up, you can go in there. You can change your reader settings, so it's got all the information about the reader. You can go in and you can put your own target glucose reading range in there. Now with this, you can do all this on the reader, but sometimes it's good when you're in with your specialist that you can do all that as well and discuss it. It gives you something to focus on and have a look at more, and whether you need to alter your target range. You can go in and go into your reader profile, that's always set up for you. You can put notes in with your specialist or your GP about things that you may need. You can add a note and say whether it's, changing your insulin dose, and you've got an area there where you can put reminders in. The Freestyle Libre flash glucose does not alarm. So if you're requiring alarm, it does not do that. There will be one in the future. That's the new technology. They have developed one that has an alarm. I do not know what date it would be here in New Zealand, but there is one coming out that will have an alarm on it. So you can just remove those reminders. Then you can go in here, you just say to your reader, and you can go and have a look at the reports. So in the past, when you've been taking your blood glucose, this is giving you so much more information, being able to flash and get the information. So there's a huge number of reports, and you can choose with your healthcare professional what you want to look at, and you take the number of days. It can be 2 weeks, which is the use of a normal sensor, and then you can go in and view the reports. So these are just some of the reports. So this will give you the ambulatory glucose profile, which is the way of reading from the flash glucose monitor. And it's giving you your average glucose. It shows how much time above and below your target and how much time in target. And what this does is it gathers information over the number of days that you select. So if you select 14 days or 2 weeks you've been using it, you can have a look at 2 weeks. It'll carry 90 days of data, so you can go back and have a look how you were 2 weeks before. And what we're finding in the clinics now is they're finding this information is valuable to see how people have improved over the time they've been using the Freestyle Libre, and having a look at their results prior, and having a look to see what's been happening during the day and during the night. So before, when you were pricking your finger, you didn't know what was happening between here and there, but now you've got a pretty clear picture of what's happening 24 hours of the day. The only time you would get a gap in the data, down here this is telling you how much data is captured, and the only time you get a gap is if you go longer than 8 hours without scanning. So if you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and you wake at 8 o'clock in the morning and you don't scan in between, you'd lose the oldest information. So if there are any gaps in the data you're getting, you understand that. And the only other time you might see a difference over the time you're sleeping is if you're lying on it, and some people can flatline with the Freestyle Libre and it'll run across as a line. But normally this will show here the low glucose events and the average duration of them. So that's the average, it's giving you an average of all the low glucose. It's got lots of reports in here, and once you start using it you can get more familiar with that, but looking at your daily patterns. And if you start using the carbs and putting in your insulin doses, you can see what time of the day you've taken your insulin and the number of carbs. So that information is there if you want to use it. Otherwise you can use it just as you are as a flash glucose monitoring, but this gives you more data to work with. The HbA1c up here is an estimated HbA1c, and but you'll still find that you'll have your HbA1c monitored, and it's interesting to find out how accurate it is. The more you've been using it, the closer it is. It's when you first start using it, it takes a while for it to adjust. And as I say, there's I think there's 27 pages of reports altogether. So when you're talking to your healthcare professional about it, and if they want you to send them, if you're only seeing them once every 3 months, you can maybe send them after 14 days or once a month, you can save this up here and save it as a PDF and send it to them. But ask them which reports they want, because they most probably won't want the whole 27 pages to look at, so you can choose. This one's very good for showing your glucose pattern insights. So it's showing here, and this is a very well controlled, of course you can see with all the greens, but it will show if your likelihood of a low glucose and your likelihood of medium glucose and the times of the day. So this graph is over 24 hours, but it's actually a 14-day. So it's showing the times of the day when you're most likely to have a low. So you start seeing trends, patterns, and you also see the variability. The wider the graph is here, the more variability in your testing. And when you see all the spots on here, sorry, I jumped it, that shows all the times that you've actually scanned. And it's showing down here the ones that are in the low threshold. Excuse me. So that is some of the information you can get from the Freestyle Libre. And as I say, it's very easy to download. On our website, you can go in and download it, and then you can start going through and having a look yourself. So that is my presentation. Have I got any questions from anybody?
Does it that Igalo isn't here yet?
Okay.
Does that have the same?
Yeah. So to look at what's coming, and it's not here yet. We're hoping to see it next year. I haven't got a date. It's available in Australia now. The Freestyle Libre app will be available. So it does what you read it does, but it also connects so you can have other people connected to see what's going on. Okay, so if you've got a child at school, you can see exactly what's happening with that child while they're at school, or if your partner's wanting to know what's happening. So as soon as that gets out, you can go on and have a look online, not on our website, but you can have a look if you Google and read about it. But it's got a lot of
when's the app system available in New Zealand? I didn't quite hear.
We haven't got a date, but we're hoping early next year.
And
we're just waiting. So Abbott are releasing it all around the world, of course, and they do each country, and so we haven't been. It hasn't been released here, so we're just waiting. Pretty much as soon as we can get our hands on it, it would be really good, and then everybody can use that. It'll make it even easier for you to use the Freestyle Libre.
just a further additional question to that then, obviously there are as a third-party device as a transmitter you can put on top of the Libre, which will send it directly to the iPhone without you scanning it. So when is the Freestyle Libre going to come out with Bluetooth to enable it to communicate directly to the iPhone?
When we get the Freestyle app, it will connect to the sensor will connect to the iPhone. When we get the Freestyle app.
So you've still got to put the sensor onto the
You've still got to wear a sensor.
Yeah, sorry, but
and you can scan with your phone.
What's the Miaomiao?
Okay. We don't sell the Miaomiao. And the Miaomiao is obviously an alternative that you can use at the moment to the Freestyle Libre app, but you would have to have a look online and talk to your healthcare professional about that, because we don't promote, it's not one of our products. Okay?
What about funding for this next year? Is that going to happen?
We applied, well, Abbott, not us, Mediray we distribute for Abbott. Abbott applied in February when it became available for children down to the age of 4, between 18 and 4. They applied then. As yet, we haven't any notification from Pharmac. We don't know when. The more, it's like we said before, our hands are tied, and the best advocates are the public. So if you are wanting to get funding for it, then let them know if it's improved your life, it's changing your life, it's working really well for you. Get that information into Pharmac, and then hopefully that pressure will help with making you realise just how important it is. For those of you that aren't using it already, if you go onto our website and you want to have a look, all the information is there, the price on it, you buy it direct from Mediray, and it's out. Usually if you order it, you get it within the next day. And it comes to you, there's a $5 courier charge, but it works out at $98.95 for the reader, and that will last you up to 2 years, and $98.95 for each sensor. So it works out at $50 approximately with the courier charge, approximately $50 a week, 2,500 a year. So that's what it is at the moment.
It's actually just even sure my uncle was many. When I was paying, I thought it was 100, it's costing 150.
125 at the moment? No, 98.95 is the GST, and then you've got your postage and courier on top of it. But it's the same price worldwide, so it doesn't matter where if you want to buy it offshore. One thing to realise is if you do buy it from another country, bar Australia, they have a geo-block, they don't work together, so if you bought them in the UK, they won't work here. Those that bought them prior to it being launched, they have been replaced free of charge by Abbott. We have a very good 0800 number, 0800 106 100, and I've got brochures and information, and there's a technical support there, so if you have any questions, that's during working hours, and they will be able to help you. If you have any problems with your reader or your sensor, they are very good at getting replacements sent out to you, and also testing to make sure everything's working. At the moment, I am not aware of that, but I am sure the fact that they've now got the Freestyle Libre 2 coming out, which has an alarm on it, obviously the demand is there, so that could be in the future, but we haven't been given any information about that. All we know is about the app coming next, and then the Freestyle Libre 2 once it's released overseas. I have no timelines on when it will come here. Any other questions?
Yeah. Is there any waterproof cases or anything for this, the readers that are coming out? Just particular things like that?
Okay. They're water resistant.
Water resistant.
Yeah. So water resistant. You can use them for up to 30 minutes under down to a metre.
Oh.
So that's fine for swimming, showering, and using them in the sea, etc. But there's no other waterproof cases to make it waterproof, and they haven't tested them if they go deeper than that. Oh, the reader. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, the reader. Oh, yes, no, that would be disastrous. Sorry, I didn't. Yeah, no, not that I know of. There's nothing for the reader, unfortunately. I suppose if you're wearing the sensor out there, if you're going somewhere, whether you had one of those waterproof bags like your cell phone, I suppose it's the same thing. You could use one of those. There's lots of information also about adhesion. Some people have problems, just to let you know, with making sure it stays on their arm. Really important to watch the application video because it's very clear about how to put it on. Other people complain they can't get it off, so I think it's important, especially with summer coming. It's with the heat and the sweat. First thing in the morning is really good to put them on and make sure the skin's clean and dry, and then you can take them. So you can use different adhesives. I've got some of the different samples. So you can use something like the bands that you use for physio. They're hypoallergenic, and you just can cut a hole in them where the sensor hole is. Some people put neoprene, some people put the tube grip over them, especially if you've got young people that are playing a lot of sport. They can put tube grip on and then put a neoprene over top to keep them. Even those little kind of like Nike phone holders, they're really good if people are doing a lot of activity. We have a lot of sports people using them in New Zealand. Lots of people cycling, and I was down at the marathon watching them. It is very good for, especially our young people coming through now with type 1 diabetes, to be able to use this and embrace it now, so they get to understand it and feel more comfortable out there doing the activities that everyone else can do.
There's a lot of activity that is a thing in your arm, like I know my needles on my pump.
pretty much with some of my sport actually remove them because I get so irritated.
I haven't been told. Can you comment on that?
So you repeat the question.
Like sometimes I have to take my needles out of from the pump out with some of my sport because I get so irritated with the movement. Do you find it with the ones in your arm for that or not?
So my personal experience, I don't work with the US hospital whenever I want to. I've been using them for about 2 years or so now, and I've done more endurance sports, so running marathons, half Ironman type thing. But I haven't had any problems with irritation. The only problem I've had is for very long races where you're sweating for hours on end. It does affect the adhesion a little bit, but I'll just stick over some strapping tape or something just to keep it on there beforehand, not after I start the periods. Anyway.
That's the filament. So you might want to have a look past that around. That's the filament that is in there. You can just take that off. So it's a very fine filament. And as I say, there's a video on it. I haven't got time to show you all today, but this is the sensor comes like this, and you put this on top, pick it up, and once you've cleaned it, you put it under your arm. There is a needle that you can see, so if anyone's got a needle phobia, don't show it to them, young people, but you put it under here, under the arm, and then slowly take it away. It's really good on there now. It shows you to hold it to make sure the adhesion's on. So as far as anyone else here who's wearing one, has anyone else had any...
Can I just ask, we had lots of failed sensors before. So just want to ask, is there like a specific place where you're supposed to put the sensor? Because my son is wearing one, and in the last year we had so many failed ones. So when you apply, it just wouldn't start. So like it goes from sensor error straight to replace the sensor. So I'm just thinking, is it like good thing to avoid the muscle, or what?
Yes.
Like what is the place?
Yes, so there is an adhesion video. This is the place under here.
Yeah. Okay. Because you have a lot of failed.
So if they're putting it up here, and when I went into Starship the first time I saw some children wearing it on here, but for adults and children, here you walk in, you've got a lot more muscle on here. So you walk through things, you're pulling your tops off, you've got school bags on. So under here is a much better area, and that's what's recommended on the videos.
Is it higher or lower?
You can work it out with the child, what they are doing, what exercise they're doing. So, and did he tape over it?
Yeah. But our problem is that the moment you put it on, wait for 60 minutes, and then sensor error. Sensor error, sensor error, after now, fail. Like
so did you ring to the 08?
Yes, yeah, every time we got replaced, and that's not the problem. But the problem is like, I don't want to call, I just want to have the working sensor. We've all been there, like lots of failed sensors, really like.
Oh yes, no, I understand. You want it to work.
Like, and because we've been using it for a long time, we've been ordering that from Australia, like
before that,
like 3 years ago. I never had a problem from Australia.
Oh no, well we're the same, Australia and New Zealand. So
so our first reader was actually Australian.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you put and you wait, and it's like, and then you
so when he's got it on, when he first puts it on, just check, and I can go through it with you afterwards. Just check to make sure that the adhesive, and that's why it says on the new video. So there's a new adhesive application video in there, and you put it on and hold it there, and make sure the adhesion. So. And it can be the time of day as well, but if it's when the skin's dry, first thing in the morning is really highly recommended. But I quite often have the other extreme, so I'm happy to talk to you about it afterwards, and we'll see what we can do to help with that. So are there any other people that are having problems with the adhesion?
Is there something about setting it up on a flat surface?
Yes, very important. Yeah. So if you are wanting to start using it, go on to our website, go to the downloads and videos on the website, have a look at the videos, but this is how you do it. You make sure it's on a flat surface. If you're putting it on up here, you can pick it up and put it on there quicker. Also, if you're putting it around yourself, you can also sometimes not have it straight. This is why this is the recommended area, is that you can put it straight into the arm. You haven't got so much muscle there, you've got more tissue there, and then just hold it in place. And then slowly pull it away. Sometimes it may be 2 if they come away too quickly, but usually once it sticks, a lot of people find it very hard to remove it. So
yeah, we do find very hard to remove, but it's failed, and then you can't remove it.
So it could be the angle. So I'll have a look and see.
Just from my personal experience, I've always found that up higher up my arms, if I feel my arm up there, I can feel the back of the tricep and where that sort of ends and gets a bit squishy there. Find that area there which would be well for me rather than on the muscle. But again, talk to Julianne just to make sure.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to afterwards and we'll have a look and see.
Well, I've always put mine on the top of my arm. I've never had any problems.
Yeah. We'll have to talk to you.
And you also raised a good point there. If you are having issues, I'm pretty sure Abbott knows me when I call them. They know my voice. It's really important that you do call up and let them know what's happening. If you're having failed sensors or you're having other issues, let them know, because Abbott's a pretty big company. Sensors being used all around the world. If they have the data, then they can make possible changes for all of us.
Yeah, that is especially 0800 number, and they are really good at coming, giving you that feedback. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll pick up on the first question that was asked. So I did mention in the advertisements for this event, I know Julianne won't talk about it, but that is the third-party bits of technology you can put on top of the Libre sensors. And the most popular one in the market today is called the Miaomiao. It's a small device. It's a little tiny bit bigger than the actual sensor itself. I haven't got one that I can show, but someone may be able to stand up and show.
So a lot easier to catch on things.
So it sits off to the side. There's a little bit that covers the
So I tape it up, but it's
So the sensor's up here, and then this part here is the down-down device.
Well, I've got a night rider, and that sits right on top.
Yep, Night Rider is another one. Different companies making similar things. The Miaomiao is water resistant, so you can go swimming with it, shower with it, don't worry about it. The good thing with these devices is it actually turns the Libre into a full CGM. So there are apps on your phone that will that you need to link up to the Miaomiao or the Night Rider, and then you can get a continual feed of all of your Libre data straight to your phone, and also set up followers so parents can watch the children wherever they are in the world. Some kids may decide to remove that as a
See, it's not working.
It's not working. My mum failed.
And very cool to talk to who buys earrings about any kind of product, and you want to buy the right thing for you.
Excellent. Well, you've come along here to the first session tonight. Great segue. We're having 2 more of these sessions over the next 2 weeks. Next Tuesday night, we're talking all about the software and the apps. So we're going to be looking at more about how we connect the Miaomiao and other things to get our data and visualise it better, be able to set up followers. We're going through a live demonstration of how to set up Night Scout, which is a cloud-based piece of software which allows parents and anyone else to have all their data logged up and be viewable anywhere. So we're going to go for a live demonstration of that. As always, you can come talk to us at Diabetes Auckland. We're pretty impartial with the information that we give. We talk to these guys all the time, so we know what's on the market commercially, but we also know a lot about what people are using and what other technology is around, which leads us into our final session in 2 weeks' time on the 20th of November, which is all about advanced technology. And these are things like going closed loop today or 2 years ago, rather than waiting for updates to pumps and new pumps to come out in the future. There are a number of people worldwide who have already closed the loop with their pumps and CGM devices. So it's really good technology. Obviously it's not approved by any governing body, so there's no FDA approval, no TGA in Australia. So it's really up to the end user to decide if that's for them or not. There's no official support for that kind of thing, other than the community support, and that is a growing community within New Zealand and worldwide. So I do encourage you, if you are interested in what's actually out there and what the sort of the grassroots level of software engineers and people with Type 1 are coming up with themselves, rather than waiting for the big corporates to develop their new technology, many years ahead, I'll put it that way, then please come along to our next couple of sessions because they'll be very valuable, and they are being run by people like me who are doing it themselves and just using parts of the system that other companies are providing. So if you haven't already registered, head back to the same place where you registered for tonight. You'll also get an email. By the time you get home, there should be an email in your inbox with a short questionnaire feedback form. I really appreciate you being able to give us some feedback on what you thought of tonight, and also to get registered in for the next couple of events. Once again, there's quite a bit of food left outside, so our reps and people are going to be around. You can grab and have a chat to about any specific questions that you have. I'll be around to answer any questions that you might have for me. Remember our little paywave scanner, your cards out, tap, 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 tap. You're not allowed to make noise until you tap 10 times. We really appreciate all the support and funds and donations that we do get, because we can put on great evenings like this, which benefits the wider community. We have filmed this tonight. We weren't able to live stream it, so I know there were a number of people around the country who were interested in attending this event, so hopefully we'll be able to get a bit of footage out there to help people around the country. But please do share your experiences you've had tonight, and encourage other people to come along and really get the best out of what's available to us. It's not an easy thing to live with, but with the technology available, it can make it a little bit easier to live with day to day. So that's it for the formal part of the evening, so thank you very much. Thank you to all of our speakers tonight. A big round of applause for them. On behalf of Diabetes New Zealand Auckland branch and Diabetes Youth Auckland, I wish you a good evening. Thank you very much.